So in this video I'm going to talk about how to add a floor to one of the existing elevator systems that comes with this package. So here in this scene right now I have an elevator system consisting of 5 floors. As you can see, there's 5 floors here. So in order to add a new floor, all you do is just click on one of the existing sections. I call it a mid section. So it's already saved as a prefab. So all you have to do is just press Control D to duplicate it. And now I just created a new one. Now next step to do is you want to offset it a bit. So in this particular elevator system, I have each floor offset by about 5 meters. So going back to the original position, all I want to do is I just want to add 5 to the Y value here. So as you can see, it's set at 16.4, and I just want to add 5, so just make it to 21.4. So there we go. Now the next step we want to do is we want to add another one of these little floor sign pieces, because they're kind of they're separate from the midsection prefab. So if you go inside the elevator system, you'll see a game object called floor signs, and it contains 5 floor signs for the original 5 floors. So to add another one for the 6th one, what I want to do is I want to go into the prefabs here. You'll see a prefab called floor signs, and you can just drag that into the elevator system. Now all you do is you want to just pull out the 6th one. So here's 6th, and you just want to just drag it under there, and you can go ahead and delete this existing floor sign. And you want to copy and paste this transform here. Just copy that component transform, paste it into here, and then you want to offset by 5, since that's how much we've offsetted the midsection prefab by. So that's set up there, and you have that one already. And the next thing we need to do is move to the top frame. Right. So when we added the new midsection piece here, we forgot to adjust the top of the elevator frame. So what we'll do is we'll need to click on that and move that up a bit. So you can click on it in the Scene Explorer, or you can just go over here and just click on top frame. You also need to move something called the cable end top. So just hold down Control and then click on that, and now you'll have both of them selected. And now you can just sort of just drag them up and drag them till they seem appropriate. So let's just say right about there. Okay, so that's set up. And the next thing you need to do is you want to set the callback, the call buttons on this floor. So on this new floor that we moved up, there is a set of 2 callback buttons, or call elevator buttons. So to set those up, all you want to do is you want to go inside the prefab, go under frame root, and then go click on this, and click on these 2, and then just set that to floor 6, and that's set up there. And the next thing you need to set up is the actual elevator. So let's click on the elevator box down here, and now there's a bunch of fields that we need to set up properly. So the first one we need to do is the floor heights. So since we added a new floor, we'll have to add a new element to the array, so the 6th floor. Now since each floor is offset by a value of 5 meters, we know to just add 5 to this, and then we should have the next floor height. So these values here, if you're wondering what they represent, so the -16 and the -11, etc., they represent the height at which the elevator bone, so this particular bone here, they represent the Y value at which the elevator will move towards for a particular floor. So for example, on the first floor, the Y value for this elevator bone should be -16.05. So if you click on the elevator bone and you punch in -16.05, the elevator will be at that particular height. So there you go. So that's basically what these values here represent: -16, -11 for the second floor, and etc., etc., and for the sixth floor 8.95. Excuse me. So that's that. Okay, and another thing we'll need to add are the call buttons. So when we added the new midsection piece, we'll have to link these two call buttons to this elevator box. So add a new element, the sixth one, and then we need to link these two to the new ones that we've created inside of here. Midsection prefab here, and these two. So again, clicking on the elevator box, and what you want to do is you want to drag these two over here. So let's just drag that over there. And there we go. Now we have the sixth floor call buttons linked to the elevator box. Next thing we need to do is set up the floor buttons. Right, the floor buttons are basically the buttons inside of the elevator box. Now currently we only have 5 buttons for this elevator system. So in order to add the sixth button, what we want to do is we want to drag this floor buttons prefab under the elevator car route. And now if you go inside this prefab, you'll notice that I've already set up all 52 buttons for all the floors. But since we only want the sixth button, we'll just drag that one out. So let's just drag that out and drag that under floor buttons. Yeah, go ahead. It'll just complain, but don't worry about it. So anyways, after we've dragged out the sixth floor button, we'll need to delete that prefab that we just dragged in. And now we need to position the button so it's where the positioned properly. So an easy way to do that is just to click on the fifth button and then just copy and paste that transform into the sixth button. Boom. And now we'll just need to shift it over a bit. There we go. Okay, so we just added that new button, and then set callback, so new callback inside. Okay, and then now we need to go back into the elevator box prefab, and now we need to link that new button that we just created. So add a new element and then drag that into, oh, I'm sorry, no, you have the trigger is actually a child of the button, so drag that floor button trigger into there. There we go. Alright, so we set up that, and now this we don't need to touch, and we don't need to touch this either. Neither do we need to touch those either. Escape hatch. Nope. Okay, actually, the next thing we'll need to edit are the positions for the counterweight. Right. So the counterweight is basically the weight here. What does it look like? Oh, okay. So let me just click on it on the prefab. Oh, so there it is. So basically, it's this counterweight that moves up and down as the elevator moves up and down as well. So in order to have it move in sync with the elevator, we need to specify its maximum height and its minimum height within the elevator shaft. So to get the maximum height, we'll just move this thing all the way up to where it is at its topmost position. And you can just, you don't have to be exact about this. You can just sort of position it in a spot where you think, oh, that looks about where it should be when the elevator is all the way at the bottom. So once it's positioned, once you position it properly, you just grab the Y value, 13.52, and you want to punch it back in here in the prefab under weight max height. So that's over there. And then you want to find the minimum value, which is the position at which the weight will be whenever the elevator box moves all the way to the top of the shaft. So let's just position it down about, let's say here. That looks about right. And copy that Y value, place it back into weight minimum height. There we go. And that should be it. The other values, they're fairly self-explanatory. Some of these you won't ever want to change. Like for example, these vectors here and this link here, you don't want to change that. But the move speed, that refers to how fast the elevator moves, and the wait at floor time basically specifies how long the elevator will stay at a particular floor when it's called. And the door speed is just basically how fast the doors open. And the pulley speed, you don't really need to touch that. That just basically specifies how fast the pulleys animate whenever the elevator shaft moves up and down. So yeah, let's test it out. Press play. Oh, actually, before we test it, I should probably mention that I'm using a player here. It's basically just a pretty simple player cap, so a player prefab that I created, which contains the standard set of player movement things that you'll need in order for the player to move around. So it's just a prefab, and it comes with the demo scene, so it should be easy to just set up and take a look at yourself. So basically, press play. Make sure that it's positioned properly on the whatever floor you want to press, and then press play. And then you'll see there's a red dot. That basically specifies where the player is pointing at. And whenever you want to press a button, just press the left mouse button. And there we go. It's gonna call the elevator. So now the doors will close in 11 seconds, or you can actually speed it up by pressing these buttons. So this one opens the door, and this one will force close the door. And let's just test the new floor. Go to floor 6. And there we go. It now correctly moves to floor 6. And then let's test out if it moves back down. Alright, so there you go. That's how you add a new floor. And to remove floors, basically just do the opposite of what I just explained in this video. Just do it in backwards fashion. So it should be pretty self-explanatory to remove floors. So once you've learned how to add floors, removing floors should be very simple. All right.